Hi everyone, I'm Scylla.
I'm Shannon.
And we're
Normal Suburban Moms.
So, we posted a video already basically talking about not the election so much as Donald Trump's dangerous rhetoric surrounding it. So, we wanted to kind of dig a little more into our thoughts about the election itself. And
also, minutes after we uploaded that, we got news that Biden is the projected winner.
Yes, so he is now President-elect Biden, which we're both grateful for. I think it may be the first time in our 20 years of friendship that we actually are both happy about the same candidate winning election.
Yeah.
So that's a nice change. Great anniversary gift for us.
Oh my gosh, right? Yeah.
But let's talk a little bit about the election. First, I think you wanted to mention what you're drinking there.
I would love to mention what I'm drinking. As with all celebrations, I'm having some wine. This is a new rosé that I first tried it about a week ago. My go-to usually was Beringer White Zen. I still love that wine. It's awesome. It's not expensive. Very fruity. It's great. This is a little more expensive, but we wanted to give it a try. It is called Hampton Water. It is, it originates from the south of France. And it is also the company run by John Bon Jovi's son.
Jesse
Bon Jovi owns Hampton Water and worked really hard to develop this rosé. From what I understand, it's won numerous awards for like Rosé of the Year and things like that. If you're familiar with Beringer, it's not quite as fruit forward as Beringer, but it has a beautiful bouquet. Smells amazing. And apparently it has citrus and red fruit. It doesn't describe it in any more detail than that. From what I smell, and I'm not a trained, wine taster or whatever by any means, I smell and taste some orange, maybe some cherry. It's also not quite as sweet as Beringer, but it's not dry at all. It's a little sweet, but not too much. It's like, I don't know. It has a very light taste, a very smooth finish. It doesn't make you go when you drink it, which is always a plus for me. So yeah, my shameless plug, Hampton Water. Give it a try.
And they're not sponsoring us.
No.
This is just her sharing something she found that she loves.
Yeah.
That being said, if anybody wants to somehow get this to Jesse Bon Jovi, we are more than happy to be sponsored. And as much as she is enjoying and drinking this wine, and as much as it will probably be on camera, sponsorship would be lovely.
Send me wine. I will drink it and show it and talk about it.
So, thoughts on the election. First, glad it's over.
So glad it's over. Oh my gosh, election night became election week.
We kind of figured it would be, but that election season as a whole has been stressful.
Yeah, it really has. Ugh. Excuse me. It's not late, but I get tired early.
So, it was a really messy election season, mostly due to Trump. Trump does not know how to... Yes, this is our life spraying cats.
Sorry. Kitty scratching the couch, not okay.
Trump basically turned this into a mud fight. And this was all during a pandemic that he wasn't taking seriously. People were dying. It was just all around a bad situation that we were in. I feel like Joe Biden was definitely, without question, the classier of the two candidates. And I think that he definitely projects an air of unity. And I hope that Trump supporters will give him a chance to unify us. Trump never tried to unify us. In fact, quite the opposite. And I just want to say, anybody that is, any Trump supporters that are having the urge to tweet or write hashtag not my president, that criticized Hillary supporters for doing that in 2016, are hypocrites. And I didn't agree with it when Hillary supporters did it, and I won't agree with it now. We are all one. The president is all of our presidents, like it or not. We dealt with Trump for 4 years. So the far right's been accusing the left for 4 years of not accepting election results. It's time to be better than what you oppose.
You're pretty. Anyway, those are some pretty earrings you have there.
Yes, I don't know if you can, how well you can see them on camera, but they were an anniversary gift from my lovely wife. They're figure skates, and there's purple amethyst stones across the blade. Because I love figure skating, and my birthstone and favorite gemstone is amethyst. Favorite color is purple. Anyway, back to the election. Really, our country's been in this really destructive holding pattern, and until we come together, I fear it's only going to get worse.
I agree. Yeah, and, far left-wing people, a lot of left-wing people, probably most left-wing people, weren't willing to unify under Trump. And I get it. I was one of them.
And while that's not okay either, and I never liked that, I also understood it a little bit because Trump never exactly extended a handout to anybody that wasn't part of his base.
No.
Biden will.
He already has. Even before he was the projected winner.
And it's time that we took that and tried to unify. Again, that doesn't mean you have to support his policies,
no.
But at least accept the fact that he does appear to be a man of integrity and character. And at this point in time, at this moment in the country, that speaks volumes.
And, if you don't agree with him being president, that's your right, and there's nothing wrong with that. But we need to come together, y'all.
And
bad.
Very bad. The families are being split apart. I had a friend on Facebook that I've known since 2nd grade that unfriended me on Facebook, and I can't definitively say if she unfriended me because she's a Trump supporter and I'm not, or if it's because I'm bisexual. But regardless, these things that are dividing us, it's tearing this country apart. It's tearing friendships apart. It's tearing families apart. And that's not okay. And we do need to be better than what we oppose, and we also need to learn to fact check ourselves. And I'm not saying one news source is enough, because it's not. When I fact check something, I look for at least 2 to 3 different sources that say the same thing. And if I can't find multiple sources giving me the same information, I don't take it as fact.
No.
And this country has lost the ability to fact check itself. Spoiler alert, just because somebody on Facebook writes it doesn't mean it's true.
Even when we got the news that Biden was the projected winner, we first saw it on CNN, because that's what we normally watch most of the time, but we checked multiple other news sources before we were like, okay, it's true.
Yeah, we checked CNN, we checked the AP, we saw that Fox News wasn't projecting it yet, but that everybody else was. And then we kept checking back to Fox News to see if they would project it.
Mm-hmm. It took a little while.
But they did. So we checked multiple sources, even sources we don't agree with.
Mm-hmm. And we usually do on political news. Like, we'll check all the sources. We want to see both sides. We want to understand both sides, because that's how you become informed. And I feel like if you're just taking things, taking people at their word, you're not informed. You can't just put yourself in an echo chamber and think that you're informed. You need to know what both sides are saying and then decide for yourself what you think is right.
Absolutely. And the right and left have both gotten very bad at creating those echo chambers online. Mm-hmm. And I just refuse to do that. I hate MSNBC. It is way far left. Don't get me started on how much I dislike Rachel Maddow. But guess what? I still turn to her show every once in a while. I still turn it to MSNBC every once in a while. I still use them as a fact-checking source.
Sorry, I moved the camera.
I've pretty much hated Fox News since Bill O'Reilly went off the right end of the spectrum. I used to be a very big fan of Bill O'Reilly, and then he swung way far right and ended up getting kicked off Fox News. And Tucker Carlson and Sean Hannity are just absolutely loathsome. So I really don't like Fox News either, but I still use them as a source.
Did you know? I used to be a big fan of Bill O'Reilly.
That surprises me a lot.
It was during the first Obama race, the Obama-McCain. Well, I told you I probably would have voted for McCain if he hadn't picked Palin as his running mate. Unfortunately, yes. The RNC kind of screwed him. But
Palin cost McCain the presidency for sure.
Oh, she did. For sure. Because I was ready to vote for him. When I heard that he picked a woman for his running mate, I was ready to vote for him. And then she spoke. But that's neither here nor there.
That's a different video.
But, yeah, I was a big fan of O'Reilly during that time. And I watched the O'Reilly Factor. And, yeah, I was a big fan of him at that time.
I used to like Bill O'Reilly very much. I used to like Rush Limbaugh very much. But
I never liked him.
Both of them have proven to put party over country. And that's not okay. That's why I respect John McCain so much. He would cross party lines if he felt it was best for the country. We need more people like that. That was the Republican Party I respected. Mm-hmm. That was the one I was proud to be part of.
Yeah, and even I could get behind a candidate like that. Hello, Thara.
So, yeah, I still use Fox News as a source. I don't personally use Tucker Carlson or Sean Hannity as sources specifically, because they have proven time and time again that they are going to parrot whatever Trump wants them to. But Fox News as a whole, definitely. I watch Fox News. I read Fox News on the internet, just like I do the same with MSNBC. I hate them so much. I do find CNN to be the closest to the middle. It's definitely left-leaning, but it is closer to the middle than either of the other major news outlets. So, major news outlet. Inside joke. If you've watched How I Met Your Mother, you get it.
We're dorks. Anyway.
But it's sad to me that people take things as fact. They retweet stuff without fact-checking. They share it on their Facebook wall without fact-checking it. I hope you don't mind me saying so, but you had to fact-check your own mom last night.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like...
And I was like, no, that's not... I don't even remember what it was right now. But yeah, I was like, let me check that. Not true. And she's like, oh, okay, thanks. I'm like...
I remember what it was, but I don't want to say it lest it gets spread.
Yeah. Anyway, it was something that was completely false. And I let her know that it was false. She's like, oh, okay.
And people seem to get offended when I fact-check them. And I'm like, well, you should have done the legwork yourself.
I mean, most of the time it's a simple Google search. Or Snopes. Or... It's really easy.
And if you can't find 2 to 3 sources that back it up, it may not be true and probably isn't.
Oh, I remember. It was a satire article that she took as true. And I was like, that's satire.
And I get it to an extent that it's hard to tell satire headlines from real headlines these days.
It is, and I've been guilty of that too. I'd be like, oh my gosh, what? And she's like, honey, it's satire. I'm like, oh.
And it's hard to tell these days. Trump has made it so that every headline seems somewhat satire-ish. But that doesn't mean you stop fact-checking. Satirical.
Yeah. We're talking about fact-checking.
Thank you. So, anyway, overall thoughts on the election. Glad it's over. Sick of political season. I wish candidates would stop with the mud campaigns and focus on the issues.
Yes.
I realize it doesn't get ratings. People don't seem to want to actually listen to the issues, and that's just one of the many reasons this country's in trouble.
People get bored when there's a debate on policy. They want to see flames. They want to see them fight. I don't get it.
I blame reality TV.
It might be reality TV. Might be like, we used to have gladiator fights in the Coliseum, and we just like to watch the world burn sometimes. I don't know, but it needs to stop.
I said, keep in mind I was in high school at the time, but I said from the beginning when the first season of Survivor was on CBS, I told my mom, this is going to be the downfall of society. And here we are, we elected a game show or reality show host into the White House, and look where we are.
It was pretty disastrous, y'all.
This country is not a reality show. It may not be the most entertaining thing in the world to look at policy, but it's important.
It is important, and, we're electing leaders here. We're not electing, who wins the sandbox fight. That's ridiculous.
And it's not a popularity contest. This isn't homecoming king and queen. This is the leader of the free world.
Yes, it's the leaders
policy
of
matters.
Our country.
And knowing what their actual policies are matter.
Mm-hmm.
She just fact-checked another relative online that was spouting crap that there was no evidence for whatsoever, because that's what the Trump supporters are spreading online right now.
And I'll be 100% honest. Some things I came back at her in not a very kind way. And some things, all I said was, where is the evidence? What is your source? Because if there is evidence and a source, I want to know. If what she's saying is true, I want to know. But it was all it was lies. It was 100% lies.
Yeah, and Sean Hannity and Tucker Carlson and Rudy Giuliani do not count as sources.
Credible sources. That's what I'm... And they teach this in high school. In English. We both happen to be high school English teachers, so we know this. That's my source. They teach how to look for credible sources and to look for multiple sources to back up your claims.
And contrary to popular belief, not all teachers in the public school system lean on solely far left sources. In fact, when teaching credible sources, we tend to teach these where new sources fall on the right and left spectrum. What's more considered right-leaning, left-leaning, closer to center, and to take that into account when considering if your source is credible. We actually, not all teachers, not all of us are perfect. Some of us, unfortunately, share our personal political views more than we should in the classroom, but
there are some, yes.
For the most part, most of us, you put it so beautifully. Our job is to teach kids how to think, not what to think. And that's what we do, and we take that very seriously. It's not my job to make a bunch of little right of center conservatives. It's my job to teach them how to look for credible sources and find out the facts on their own so they can make up their own mind, so that when they become voting age, they have the knowledge.
I had a student the other day, the day after Election Day. She asked me who I voted for, and I told her that I voted for Biden. And she was like, "Oh, you're a Democrat?" And I was like, "Yeah." And she said, "Well, I'm a Trump supporter." And I was like, "Oh, okay, that's cool. Like, it's okay." And we kind of got into a conversation, and finally I told her, I was like, my job is to teach you how to think critically and to know, how to find sources to make informed decisions. My job isn't to tell you you're wrong for supporting Trump or that I'm right for supporting Biden. It's, we all have our views, and that's okay. Even in such a heated election as this, it's okay.
Mm-hmm. It is okay, and we have to learn to have that civil discussion again. It's important.
It is. It's really important. Really, a civil debate is the cornerstone of our democracy. Other than, voting. Back up, baby. My doggy is trying to come over here and move things. Other than the election, and having the right to vote for our leaders, debate is the cornerstone of our democracy, and we should be able to do that civilly and responsibly and not in a hateful way.
If we couldn't have civil debate, we wouldn't have been friends for 20 years, because we have always been on different sides of the political spectrum.
We wouldn't be married.
We just happen to agree that Trump is a bigger danger than supporting either party at this moment.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of the few political agreements that we've had.
Do I like that it went my way? Oh, yeah. Does she not like that it didn't go her typical way? Yeah.
I'm happy that Trump is out. I'm a little bit sad that this doesn't seem to be the referendum rejecting Trump that I had hoped, because I wanted the GOP to do some soul searching and get back to being the party of Reagan instead of the party of Trump. I don't know that that's going to happen, and that does make me sad. But I am also relieved that Trump's out of the White House, and hope that we can go forward from here in some capacity.
What?
She agrees. So, this was a bittersweet election for me. It was the first time I've ever voted Democrat in a presidential election. And I'm not going to lie, after I clicked the bubble for Biden, and when I was reviewing my choices, I stopped and I looked at it for a few seconds, because it kind of hurt me a little bit. But at the end of the day, I decided it was the right vote for the country, regardless of party. And I'm also not going to lie, I like the spirit that Kamala Harris has. I don't agree with all of her politics, but I am very happy to see a female vice president in this country. And so regardless of policy, I'm happy for her and the glass ceiling she has broken through. And I would rather it be her making history. I know she's vice president, not president, but I would rather see her making this history than Hillary Clinton. So, you know, sorry, cats are not good cameramen.
They're ready for dinner and they're letting us know.
So
they get demanding.
This will probably be one of the last videos we do about the election itself. The way Trump is acting, I'm sure we'll do another video about that. And we'll probably do another video about President-elect Biden when he's sworn into office. But I'm definitely ready to stop talking about politics as much for a while.
So much. So ready.
We do have some other topics that we're going to be covering soon. And I do eventually want to do a deep dive into what I think is wrong with each party, because it is plentiful. But that's not going to be anytime too soon, because I really am just over it right now.
Yeah, I definitely have fatigue. Election fatigue.
But we did want to make this video just sort of talking about our overall views on the election and just how awful this process has gotten and how divisive it's gotten. So we could maybe get our thoughts out there and put it behind us. So,
what do you think, Gretzky? Yeah?
So basically that's all I got. Basically, we can sum it up by saying, thank goodness Biden won, and thank goodness it's over.
Ow, ow, ow.
That about sum it up?
Yeah, pretty much.
So, that's all we got. Thanks for watching, and we will see you next time. Bye. Say bye, Gretzky.
Bye, Gretzky.